I once worked myself to the point where both of my arms stopped working. And I showed up to work and I didn't have full control of my arms because I worked for 21 days straight without time off. And then after an 18-hour day without proper ergonomics, it took me 6 months of recovery, during which time I did not take any time off. And I found a way to work with partially operational arms. That's the kind of overworked person I was.
So I just want to go back because I like to play with the transition moment, because, you know, many people, like you said, many people are in the same situation, you noticed, and that's still true, right? There are many people that are, you know, and it's told, we're even taught this. Like I saw entrepreneur, okay, you're get ready to work a lot, you know, like we're all conditioned. That's like, we're going to go. And then we find that there are other ways, which that's what I found. And then by you coming and me sharing some of my stories, you're like, oh my gosh, there's another way, you know? So what I heard, just to echo back, is like, one, that you found that there are other ways. And then one of the big ones was working with who you want to work with, which is what I call wow clients. Right. And that, would you say that was I guess just go back. I'll just ask, what do you think was the biggest thing that helped at the beginning? Like, I know there's things now that we could probably talk about, but at that turning point when you were just going back, working all the time, of, you know, worried, like, am I going to get sick? How long can I sustain this? You know, and even not wanting to sustain it, you know, that's what I saw in your face. And it's like how happy you are right now. That's not the way that was. And I knew you, I had met Vitalia, just to put the full thing out there. I had met her before and I was like, whoa, this is not the happy Vitalia that I met when I first met her. I could tell how drained you were. And so at that moment, I guess what I heard so far, to echo it back, is that it was taking the break, I guess, to even just get away from work. Would you say what would you say is the biggest
well, it was the taking the break, but not just any kind of break. You know, I took a break and I stepped back and I looked at it as a whole. And then I also looked at it, you know, through, you know, the guidance of your class. I was able to put my experience in context of other people's experience. We were all stepping back and looking at the whole. And I think you just see things differently when you do that. And sometimes when you're in the grind, just trying to get client work done, you know, you're not stepping back. You're not thinking about, well, why am I really here? And what am I really trying to accomplish? And what's the value that I really bring? What are the problems that I'm solving for people? You know, these were not questions I had clear answers to in that very first class. But it was very obvious that I had to have answers to this in order to have a successful business, you know? And so I would say that I was just flying by the seat of my pants with some, like, you know, rough strategy, and being able to, you know, start to formalize that strategy. And then knowing I wasn't alone was a huge part. Seeing other people have challenges, seeing other people overcome those challenges was very empowering for me. And just having hope that it was going to get better and trusting that it was going to get better. And then just, you know, I was in a very bad place. So it was just putting one foot in front of the other for a few months, and things started to release, and suddenly there was more rest. And, you know, we feel so much better once we start getting enough sleep. And you know, because when we're stressed out, you know, sleep goes out the window, you're not eating properly, you know, you might not even be getting social support from your friends and family, you know, might be going into isolation. So there's such a chain reaction that starts to happen. And I was, you know, at a point in that chain reaction that I thought was dangerous. And that's why I reached out. And I say that because in my audit career, I once worked myself to the point where both of my arms stopped working. And I showed up to work and I didn't have full control of my arms because I worked for 21 days straight without time off. And then after an 18-hour day without proper ergonomics, it took me 6 months of recovery, during which time I did not take any time off. And I found a way to work with partially operational arms. That's the kind of overworked person I was. That led to an experience that I call administrative trauma, where I was not able to talk about work without a lot of sadness. And so I just didn't talk about work. You know, I would do it, but I wouldn't talk about it. And, you know, that experience became the baseline of what I'm trying to prevent with my business. I don't want other people to have those experiences. I know how painful that place is. I don't need to go there again. And if I can prevent other people from going there with accounting specifically, that would be great, because it hurts and you don't want it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I know a lot about you, obviously, as we've worked together for years now, but I had not known that full extent. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. And I mean, that really puts things into perspective, like how far you've come. And so then I guess I'm most curious at this moment, what helped you make the decision? I guess I feel that it was the pain and you didn't want to go through that. So by the time you came to my class, you had already experienced all this and you kind of saw some indicators that you could be going down a similar thing. Luckily, you weren't that far where your body stopped working, but you had that experience. So is that what helped you make the decision to do something new, or what would you say the main thing to make?
Yeah, there was a really big part is knowing that I was at the place where my body was about to stop working, and I had not yet sustained the injury. So I had not yet injured myself, but I knew that I was just in that place where I didn't know if it was a few days or a few weeks, of how long I had before something happened. And I didn't know what it was, but I could feel it coming. Okay. And I just thought, what's the point of doing that? It's very expensive. It's very expensive to drive yourself into the ground and then have to heal for God knows how long. It took 6 months before, and probably even an extra 2 years to heal the emotional bits, and that's very expensive. So I thought, I can't afford that. I would rather take the money I have and get help and not get hurt, and that would be less expensive. Yeah. And I don't have to heal for 2 years. That would be horrible. So I just, I knew I needed help, but I didn't know where I needed it from. And oddly, and I don't understand why, Steve, but your purple shirt and that green bush and your awesome story that went with it, I didn't know about the class. I didn't know anything. I just thought, wow, I love that video. I wish I could make videos like that. I wish my video quality was that good, and the sound was so clear and the shirt was so vibrant, that I'm like, I have to talk to Steve because he's doing something and it looks fun and he looks great. And then you told me about the class, and the class was addressing the exact problem I was struggling with in that moment. So it really just kind of felt like a wonderful synchronicity. Like, you were like, come to my class, it's in a week. And I'm like, oh my God, I must do this. I didn't have time, but I just went anyway.
Hey there, I want to give you something really big. It's called Clearpath to Customers. It's the way that we get the right language to get the right client. I like to call them your wow clients, so that you can have more results, more revenue, more raving fans, and more referrals. And I want to give this to you absolutely free. And all you have to do is go to stevenapolitan.com to check it out, or you can look at the description here. We'll put the details there. As always, remember, choose gratitude and create freedom.